Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So in front of us is the 2023 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. This model is finished off in black, and we'll go over the MSRP once we get through all of the features and specs for this classic American muscle car. So let's start off with what powers the ZL1. This has a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. This model is paired to the 6-speed manual transmission. It pumps out 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in just shy of 4,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds with a top speed just shy of 200 miles an hour. And it also has a fuel economy of 14 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. Not all that bad considering the amount of miles per gallon that you're going to have with this ZL1. So let's talk about this front end design because it is very aggressive. There's the hollow Chevy bow tie to provide some more cooling, along with the cutouts in the rest of the upper grille. Plenty of cutouts in that lower section. There's also the tow hook installed at the moment to give it that cool factor. There's also air inlets on each side with the DRLs and a small lip spoiler to give it that much more aggression. Now this also has LED headlights and DRLs that have a nice sleek housing to them to match that upper grille. Camaro is also nicely placed right on the middle of that housing. And then there's some great lines that run down the hood with the carbon fiber hood scoop in the middle. The ZL1 badge, this even has functional heat extraction vents, so that way the airflow can go through the front and right over that carbon fiber. It's very subtle with the exterior being black. Now for the side, this has a set of 20-inch wheels, 10 inches wide in the front, 11 wide in the rear. This has the Brembo brake calipers as well with the 6 pistons, 4 pistons in the rear, even has the sport tune suspension to it. Now this particular model also has some aftermarket goodies. There's the carbon fiber right here installed on the back side of the mirror caps, which are body colored. No sunroof for this model, but all the window trim is blacked out. And it gives it a really clean look, being finished off in black. All of the lines have a really nice look to them, especially in the lower side skirt, which kicks out just slightly. And then we have the massive rear fender with this line here going all the way to the trunk mounted spoiler. There's a reverse light right in the middle, along with the 3D LED taillights, which just have a cool classic design to them. Now this also has a backup camera, all the parking sensors, and the quad tip dual active exhaust, which we will start up here in just a little bit. So with the exterior wrapped up, let's move on to the trunk. I can use the button on the key fob or the hidden button down below to easily access this. And I have some items back here. You can see you can fit a good amount of in the back. You can also fold down the back seat too to get a little bit more room. Now this opening is a little bit narrow, so it's hard to get some boxes in like this size here, but once you finagle it in, you have plenty of space. So it's very practical for this sports car. And as we move on to the interior now, I do wish that the lock and unlock button was also black. It'd be cool to just to have that a little bit more subtle. But this model has full alcantara for the door panel, red stitching, even the ambient lighting that you can see, all the window controls. There's carbon fiber surrounding the release handle and lock and unlock, memory seating adjustments, Bose audio, even a release for the trunk. Beautiful door panel. And then we get the leather and alcantara for these Recaro seats, which are also heated and ventilated. They have the automatic adjustments for the backrest. You do have the manual adjustment there to push that forwards. And now at 5'10", I can gain access into the back seats. Now you're not buying this for a full 4-seater. As you can tell, no legroom with the passenger seat all the way back. There is a wireless charger though right in the middle, and you still get the alcantara and the suede. Now from this angle, since I couldn't do this from the other side, you can fold this completely flat with me out of the way, and you have plenty of room into that trunk there. A good amount of visibility. We get a lot of comments that the Camaro doesn't have good visibility. It's not as bad as my R8 that you can see through that back window there. But if I had to be back here, my head is touching the headliner. I could be back here for maybe 5-10 minutes, something like that. So they are usable if you need that practicality or extra interior storage, which is nice to have. And then for the rest of this interior, check out the full Alcantara steering wheel. We have some red accents for these paddles, for the rev matching paddles, more red stitching, flat bottom design to it. There's even volume and favorites down at the bottom. Let's fire up this ZL1 with my foot on the brake and the clutch. This has a good sound for that V8. Now for this gauge cluster, you'll see the tach and miles per hour on each side, and the LCD screen right in the middle shows you some fixed information like the fuel and some other vitals. And then using these controls here, we can further go through all of this information in the middle. So if we go back to the left side here, this is basically your home. You have different options. You can go into your phone, even pull up the turn-by-turn directions and the compass. You have your music, performance as well, which activates a launch control you can actually get into. You can look at a lot more vitals here as well, like your TPMS, your limited slip differential. And then if we go back into information, you have your miles per hour, your trip information, all of that standard info that you would kind of see here, even oil life, and a few others that we just saw, along with a clean tab there too, so you can hide some of that info. Now on this left side, this has cruise control along with the heated steering wheel, and it just has a really nice design to it. Now on this left side, there's also the head-up display controls. So currently, if you can see this right now, it's showing the RPM along with the miles per hour and the G-force meter. Now we just have miles per hour. You can add the audio, the compass, and then we're back to that first setting there. So just depending on what you'd like to see. There's some aftermarket red trim surrounding the air vent covers too. And then right in the middle, for this touchscreen system, you have a lot to go through. On the home screen, you can see audio and phone, and then there's a lot more icons like your audio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can go into your settings, even get into your climates. You also have the ambient lighting that you can go into and pick whatever color that you would like to. There's also shortcuts at the bottom, so I can quickly get into the climates. I can pull up my phone if I had that paired along with music, and then you're back to home. There's also a physical button for the home, as well as power and volume for the radio and tuning. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the heated and ventilated seats. To adjust the temperature now, all you have to do is twist on the air vent itself, and you will see that adjust for your driver or your passenger. Fan speed is right in the middle. You also have auto, recirc, where you like the air to go, and all of those further adjustments. And then for the 6-speed manual, the shift boot is finished off in Alcantara. Reverse is over to the right and up. You'll see the backup camera up here along with the guidelines as well. And then behind that, there's traction control and the different driving modes. So there's touring, sport, track, and snow and ice. If you're brave enough to take this out in the snow and the ice, you have that mode that you can use. 2 cup holders and a 12 volt are just next to that. And then you actually have some auxiliaries in the center armrest. So if you need to use that, you can to charge electronics. You have plenty of room in that glove box, even more Alcantara and stitching. It's just a beautiful, beautiful interior. This even has the camera for the rear view mirror. So you have your traditional view, and then if you do have people in the back or other items, you have a lot more space. This will make sense once we get out on the road, so you're not just seeing the grass there. And then visibility over the left shoulder there is pretty good as well. So let's get this out on the road. And with a mild acceleration, this has so much power. And we get some pops in that exhaust. I'll try to do that once we turn on this road here to get them to pop more. But from this angle, you can also see the camera system in the rear view mirror. Incredibly helpful for this. Now, like I said earlier, visibility is not all that hard. I own an R8 and it's much smaller on the interior than this. So I have no issues with the visibility. I wouldn't let that stop you from buying the Camaro, because the more you drive a vehicle, the more you understand, you know, where your blind spots are and where you need to look. So yeah, I love this interior with all the Alcantara. It looks so good. And I think for just under 70 grand, you have a lot of nice materials to give you that upscale look. And you have this exhaust. Ready? There we go. That does not get old with that supercharged V8. But let's give it another acceleration here from first gear. Here we go. Not the most aggressive. Boy, does it sound good. I will say the shifter is super notchy too, and I mean that in a good way. I really like how engaging this is to get it into that next gear, so you know you are in whichever gear you're going to. So I love how it has a short throw style to it. Clutch pedal is super light, so you could daily drive this muscle car and just have a good all-around vehicle. If this is your only vehicle, like I said, it's pretty practical for the amount of space that you do get with this. And and it's not crazy loud I mean, you can hear, hopefully you've been able to hear the pops and everything from that exhaust, but it's not so loud where there's a drone or you just don't want to drive it every day. I think it has a good tone to it to be a daily driver and to have the fun that you want with the spirited driving for this car. So I think it's a really good blend between everything. One thing I also wanted to talk about is the gear skipping. So I am going very, very slow in first gear, and it will actually pop up on the screen to show you that you can go from first to fourth in order to save on your MPG. So it actually tells you to skip gears. Now, it doesn't lock you out of second like in some of the Camaros that I have seen, or sorry, the Corvettes that I've seen, where it will actually lock you out. And when you go from first, it will push you over into fourth gear. So that is something that this vehicle will tell you to do depending on your driving. So I'm going very, very slow right now, so it wants to go to a higher gear to keep the RPM range low. So interesting to see that. We just have a lot of comments about skipping gears. Chevrolet actually has that incorporated into some of their manuals for some better fuel efficiency. And with one last acceleration, we're gonna finish up today's review here. And I think that is going to wrap it up for the 2023 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Once again, huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this muscle car for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.